Episode number 2 of the road to Kona from Bottle.It. I think that's what we could call that, the road to Kona. Bottle.It goes to Kona, something. Episode number 2 of the road to Kona from Bottle.It. We are here, as you can see by the generic poetry in the background. It's live from Kona. I thought we'd jump down and do episode number 2. Now, there was an episode planned for last week, but we didn't get around to it. We had a bit of a hiccup last week before we flew out, so we didn't have time to hit record. More on that later. Apologies for the lack of social media content for the last couple of months with this whole journey. It's been one of those things that if it was somebody else going, or even when we come over with Reese in 2022, it's really easy for myself to narrate or offer opinions or basically just narrate what's happening for a Bottle.It athlete. When it's myself, it's actually really finding it quite difficult and almost self-indulgent to sit here and tell my story or share what's happening, and it's just not quite as comfortable as it is telling other people's stories. So I do apologize for that. It is something that when I started this prep I was going to share a lot more, but yeah, it's just hasn't been on high on the priority list when it comes to things to pump out to get to Kona and to race this Ironman. The last 2 weeks before we flew out have been quite eventful, quite nerve-wracking. It's always knew that Kona was real and it was going to be happening, but it was only until you start getting booking notifications and check-in details that it actually hits home that it's happening. And a big one of those moments was when my number became available on the race tracker, the Ironman tracker, and actually having that number, which I believe is 401. I'm gonna have to double check that, and I'll throw it in the comments for anyone who is on the Ironman tracker. But that did make it real, and seeing a whole host of other pro athletes and then the athletes from back home in Sydney that I know and seeing their numbers, it was like, holy shit, this is happening. So yeah, it's been exciting. The nerves have just doubled, tripled, quadrupled. I was quite comfortable throughout my whole training prep with the progress, and I'd lost my target. I hit my target weight. I was doing my zone 2 rides. I stuck with all my numbers. My priorities weren't, targeting those really. The training volume wasn't as much as a lot of other athletes. I think I was averaging out 12, 13-hour weeks for a lot of the 8 to 10 weeks that I was, applying myself to training, which is probably half of a lot of what the guys are doing. But we had to prioritize finance. And one of the big things to get over here and race at Kona was the cost of getting over here. So I was working 5 days a week across 2 and 3 different jobs just to make it achievable for my wife and son and myself to be here sitting under a palm tree and telling the Kona story. So yeah, it definitely wasn't as much as a lot of other athletes, but it was more than I've ever done. And I was taking great comfort in knowing that I'm lighter, I'm stronger, faster. And I was comfortable the whole prep with those numbers and what was happening. However, when you start thinking about Kona, and as comfortable as I was compared to my Ironman Australia weight and fitness, I'm starting to really question whether it was enough for Kona. And the only way to find that out is this Saturday. We find out whether it was enough and how much it was. So nothing left to it now other than to do it. So yeah, we'll see how it all unpacks. But last 2 weeks, or the last week before we flew out, started the week with an ear infection. So that was a trip to the doctors to get antibiotics to try to get rid of the ear infection. It was affecting my balance and giving me headaches. And luckily I had one earlier in the prep, so I knew what it was. I got an antibiotics really quick. Day after that, Juki was in hospital. He had a heart scare at school. So we went to the emergency room, spent the afternoon there. And then Wednesday I was able to get through a full day of work. Thursday morning riding with the All Sorts. It was just a social ride to make sure. The TT was in the shop. I was on the roadie. Coming back from our usual coffee loop, I've gone to pedal. The chain's gone off. From what I think can happen, I can only assume it happened. There was no potholes. I don't think there was a bump, but there was no potholes. I've thrown my chain off the big ring over towards my foot, gone to pedal. There was no resistance under my foot, so I've just air pedaled and my whole body's chased my right foot and it's thrown me off balance. So I hit the deck fairly hard. My head and my hip took most of the impact. I've never been more appreciative of a MIPS helmet. My helmet's got a massive crack down the back of it from where my head hit, and I didn't lose consciousness. No head injuries, definitely a sore neck and shoulder, but yeah, my melon was fine. It'd be pretty hard to damage this noggin anyway, but I was really surprised with given how hard I hit the road that I've seen stars playing rugby and yeah, I didn't think the hits were anywhere compared to falling off a bike, but the head's here fine. So definitely make sure your helmet's fitted, get a MIPS helmet. Yeah, helmets are great. Hip took the brunt of the fall and definitely was where the majority of the pain was. Yeah, slid into a side of a parked car. Luckily there was a young lady sitting in the car who helped out amazingly. She rang the ambulance. Ambulance come check me out, put me in the back. I was in a little bit of shock from hitting the deck and a bit of fentanyl, and I was sky high until about lunchtime. But yeah, a quick check at the hospital, a few blood tests. I was actually really worried, but I was able to put weight through it. Stand up at the hospital, strength test inside, outside, and there was no need for x-rays or scans. So I'm not quite sure what the damage is. There's a heap of swelling. I was nervous about the flight. I wasn't so much nervous about the race. I knew that it'd take a lot more than a crash bike to stop me from getting to that start line, hopefully to the red carpet. But yeah, I was worried with the 10-hour flight, being 6'4", sitting in a seat locked up overnight, how much swelling and inflammation was going to be caused. Had the compression pants on, and the flight over was definitely uncomfortable. I think I got 2 hours sleep on the Garmin app, but it was still exciting. It was definitely one of those things that the work's been done, training's been done, the volume's been done. You're not going to get any fitter or faster the week before a race, so I wasn't too concerned. But yeah, I'll try to put a photo up. I got a bit of bruising and inflammation. Actually, I won't put a photo up. No one needs to see it. I was yeah, I've had a big night last night with the Voltaren, a couple of Oxycontins, and managed to sleep through, and I've woken up, and much to my relief, a lot of the swelling has cleared up overnight. I'm going to go for a run this afternoon and try to get rid of any of the excess fluid and just a bit of the swelling to make sure that it's fine to load impact through the hip. It'll be my first run since I've fallen off the bike. So what was that, Thursday morning? It's now Monday afternoon here. Yeah, I've been walking, did a heap of walking, but I'll make sure that it's okay to get up to a run. The exciting part is the flight over. There's a heap of people with bikes, and yeah, a lot of people traveling with their families over, and just being able to look around, and it's a really quick way to know who's going for the race if they've got a bike with them, but also the Ironman backpacks, and be able to talk to a few supporters and a few other athletes racing. And a great omen, as friend of Bottle.It, Craig Alexander, was on the same flight, so I was able to say g'day to him and have a bit of a chat, and just when you get a bit of reassurance from the greatest of all time in the Ironman community, it's nice. It was really nice to see him, and definitely comforting to have a bit of a chat with him at both Sydney Airport and again at Kona. So yeah, I'm just excited, absolutely excited. We're staying out of town. We're out at Waikoloa Village, which is probably a 40-minute drive from Kona. We made the decision. A lot of that decision was made financially. It's a lot cheaper than staying in town, and the financial difference allowed us to hire a car. But also in town, if you're following anyone else's vlogs or social media, town's quite busy. Everyone's there for the Ironman, so you're constantly looking out the window and there's someone training. So even though we are 40 minutes out of town, Queen K, which is, apologies for anyone just listening, over my shoulder, if you're a golf course out at Waikoloa, I hope I'm saying that correctly. We can't zoom in, but basically, where's that? Down the bottom, down there, almost near the water's edge, is the Queen K. And we drove in from the airport. We went across this morning and got breakfast at the village, and there's a lot of TT bikes doing their testing and making sure everything's working. And it was cool to see the couple of road trains out there working. So going to jump out there tomorrow. I'll take the camera out tomorrow and do my first roll on the Queen K, and make sure that basically the bike's working. It's built, it travelled fine. Everyone's been asking, the bike got through okay, no damage. Thank you Hawaiian Airlines for being nice. But the bike's ready. I'm gonna go for a swim in town tomorrow to get my first athlete check-in. So I'll grab my race number. I think it's the Parade of Nations. I'm excited to walk in the Parade of Nations, and this is just for anyone listening. I've got the ambassador pass. I'm well aware that I'm representing Australia, and I've got that little chip on my shoulder. I made it quite clear in the first episode, and I'm going to harp on about it too much. The other athletes that are racing out here have qualified, and they've earned the right to represent Australia through their qualification times, and they genuinely are Australia's best athletes, whereas myself, I've kind of come in from the side door. I'm so proud to be representing Australia, but I also know that it's not through the same avenues as those other athletes. So it's a bit of that weird one. I'll be representing Australia proudly. However, I'm well aware that it's not from being Australia's best Ironman athlete in my age group. It's from hopefully promoting Bottle.It and speaking about mental health and continuing to motivate people to move from the dark to the light and showcasing the World Championships in such a positive way and through meeting people that hopefully for anyone watching and listening, and motivate yourself to get your head down and have a go, because this is the pinnacle. This is where you want to end up if you're racing and you're racing competitively. This is the Mecca. This is the holy grail. So I'm going to do my absolute best to hopefully inspire and showcase Kona at its best to help you get your head down and ass up and start training. Or, like I said, my journey to this start line hasn't come from the usual avenue. It's come from being vocal about my journey with mental health and using Ironman as a purpose to pull myself out of, at one stage it was a darkness. It was really like sleepless nights, depression, anxiety, and then we go on to know that it was PTSD and a lot of the other stuff that comes with it too, like body image and just being able to narrate that. And I knew the link between your mental health and physical health was so close. And when I found out, when I was diagnosed with PTSD, the quick summary was, okay, well, what's the fittest you can get, or what's the healthiest you can be? And it's a no-brainer that it's an Ironman or triathletes are the fittest people in the world. So I was like, right, I'll do that. And it gave me purpose, and it gave me somewhere to direct some positive and negative emotions and energy. And here we are. So Ironman is a great vessel for anybody trying to put some purpose in their life. Now, we're at the 12-minute mark. So that it's a little bit of a summary of the last week and sitting here right now. But one of the things I want to do is share a story with just the Ironman community and say thank you to a few people. And the Ironman community are absolutely amazing. It's one of those things when you go to races, and I've been to every sideline for the last 2 years, Cairns, Busso, Port Macquarie. And then one of the amazing things to see is that if it's someone's first race to watch from the sideline, they can't help but feel moved. It's a great reminder in almost, I don't want to say humanity, I don't want to go Gandhi on it, but it's a great reminder of literally humanity and how nice people can be. When you have team sports and two teams are competing, there's a positive and there's almost like they're enemies. There's always going to be someone happy and someone sad as the ebbs and flows of the game unfold. Whereas when it's an individual sport, every supporter there and every athlete's there racing for themselves. So from a supporter point of view, everyone's stoked. Everyone's really encouraging and just happy to, watch people do their best. And it's quite uplifting and motivating to be on that sideline. And coming from a team sport and not feeling that energy unless you're winning, it is really nice. And one of the best things about finding out, and if you watch the video of when I find out, I speak about meeting people in the caravan park at Port Macquarie. Mel and Matt, I met at Port Macquarie Caravan Park. They were the caravan behind where I was staying in my van. Met them on day one, and they were just the nicest humans on day one. Now, day two, if you watch that video, you see me crying. I love Ironman, and I love having big dreams, and I love Kona, and I love that I'm here at the start line. But the tears that come, the emotion that come out of that interview were because I couldn't ring my mum to tell my mum that I was going to go race Ironman World Championship. So when I found out, I was quite upset. Well, after I found out, I got a bit emotional that I couldn't, something so big in my life, I wasn't able to share with the person that was almost, is my true north, or was my motivation for a lot of what I do. However, when I walked back to the caravan park and I was able to tell Mel and Matt, Mel went to tears and hugged me, and it felt the exact same as a hug from my mum. And that moment just stands out so vividly and so clearly. And Mel took time to talk to me and hug and celebrate the journey, and she got really excited. And Matt was the same thing, came over, gave me a hug straight away. I met these people less than 24 hours before this moment, and it felt really nice to have that, to be able to share with that. And they understood how much it meant being there. They'd been there a couple of years themselves with Mel racing and over supporting friends that have done it. So they understood really clearly what Kona meant and what it could mean for an athlete. And they just got it straight away. And to have that hug from Mel was huge. And to be honest, if that's where the journey stopped, I'd still be glowing. I'd still be stoked, but it gets better. And I understand this is not an Ironman or a training story, but I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not going to sit here and break down the data and the numbers behind my training block. I'd rather tell human stories to motivate you guys to be a better humans. And just, this is what you get with kindness and being nice. This journey of our friendship with Mel didn't stop. So she's been messaging me once a month with messages or updates or photos from her Kona journey or advice from her Kona journey, just to keep me stoked and keep the fuel lit. And in the middle of winter, she was sending me photos of the coffee cart in Kona that you can swim out to, and just really just checking in and making sure it was okay. And we go out and race West Sydney 70.3. I'm not going to go into a race recap there. Basically raced brilliantly. I had one of the best swims I've ever had and swam fast, easy, rode to my target heart rate for an Ironman and averaged 33 Ks an hour, which is massive for me. I've never been able to average over 30 Ks an hour at any distance over 40 Ks. So I was having an absolute day. However, the wrong choice in footwear for the run resulted in, and a previous injury I'd picked up had resulted in a foot cramp and massive toe pain and just a toe pain I couldn't run through. And I tried my best to run through it. I walked, run. I literally grit my teeth, but at the point the pain was going up. Even when I was walking, the pain was still going up. I knew I had to stop. I didn't like the idea of stopping. I went an extra 7 kilometers further than I probably should have because of the support for the floral on the course. And I really did not want to pull the pin, but I knew by pushing my foot while it was hurting that much was going to result in doing some damage that I didn't need in the 6 weeks out from being here. So I pulled the pin. At that 7K mark where I knew the wheels were falling off, Mum was quite, I don't want to say spiritual, but really big into symbolism and, being able to find strength and comfort in the surroundings around you by relating them to a family member or a happy place. She was big on the happy place idea. And in the past, my brothers and myself and even like her and my dad, there's a bird remind you of a certain person, or a song can trigger a memory which makes you feel better. And it's not tin foil areas of claiming that spirituality. This is just kind of symbolism at its best. And in the past, when I've asked for support or help in my head, there's always been something I can pull strength from. I can always hear a song, or I can look at something, or visualize something and kind of get yourself through that tough stuff. I asked with 7K, before I pulled the pin, I was like, all right, Mum, I'm in the locker here. I'm really struggling here. I need something just to lift me. I just need to lift a little bit more as I was running. And then I went on for 7Ks, which took, about half hour, 40 minutes, and nothing appeared. There was no song. There was no bird. There was nothing I could grab to go, oh, yep, that's symbolism. Oh, yep, Mum's here. Oh, yep, this is here. I couldn't pull strength from anything. I was really struggling. And I got upset. I was actually really sad. I was like, okay, well, I don't know. Mum's not here. I can't, this is not like me. This is shit. So I started walking, took my race belt off, and I was actually kind of processing the fact that, all right, well, maybe my secret tool, or maybe one of the things that I use for mental health to grab strength from, which I've used through training, I've used through, my whole life, basically. Maybe the mum, I got really sad that Mum wasn't there. I was like, well, I don't know what that's about. And no word of a lie, this all happened within, 15 seconds of me going through my head of going, oh, yeah, Mum's not here, that thing's gone. Mel pops out of the bushes from the car park. Like, there was supporter areas set up. It wasn't a support area. She was down near the car park and there was no one else around. And all of a sudden, the same person from Port Macquarie Caravan Park pops out of the bushes at the time where I was like crying. She walked up, being an Ironman athlete herself, and she's like, how are you, mate? What have you done? You're okay, keep walking. Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, this is what's going on. She's like, okay. And I felt bad because she was trying to help, but she also knew, she's like, you want to be left alone? I think you need to be left alone, but you want some help. And it was the same thing. I just got really overwhelmed with positive emotions of going, all right, Mum is here. Like, there is something here. It just isn't the usual. It wasn't in the way that I thought I needed it. It was through Mel being able to support me through that walk back to transition to hand my Tommen belt in, and a bit of a chat with her. And then I felt $1 million after seeing her. She was so comforting. She's like, it's fine. You've got time. You don't need to run between now and Kona. You've done the work. Take your shoes, go get that injury fixed, rock up at Kona. You'll be fine. You're going to be okay. You'll get through this. And it was amazing to see her again, and just another one of those Ironman supporter journeys that, you have with people on the sideline that means so much. And then 800 meters down the run course, Matt pops up and same thing, gives me a hug like I was his own son. And you're fine, mate. You're fine. You don't need to run, hell, mate. Even if they take you, even if this injury doesn't go away, you can walk that marathon at Kona. You're going to finish. And again, lifted me another 2 feet. Like, it was huge. So they're 100% with me. So Mel and Matt, I know you guys listen to the podcast and support everything I do. I just really wanted to say thank you, and I'm here. Your support has meant the world. And yeah, I look forward to sharing that finish line. And as you said, Mel, ugly crying. I can't wait to finish an ugly cry with my wife and son. But it's been a big part. Little journeys like that, and people like Damo. I mentioned Damo on the last podcast. Damo messages me daily with positive affirmations, and it's just helped so much. He's a young father with 2 young kids, and we're same age, same journey. And he's literally carried me daily with these affirmations, and he's just such a good man. People like Chris Johns and Big Troy, they've sent me some of the nicest messages I've ever heard. I'm going to share Johnsy's message as one of my captions, because I'm really struggling to think of captions with my own writing without sounding like a Derek talking about myself in third person. Big Troy, just basically so many people that have saw the photo of me flying out to send me the well wishes. It's really one of those things, one of those moments where I'm really questioning. Not questioning, I'm proud of how I got here and the avenue I took. But when you look around and there are athletes here, it's just a really nice reminder that there are so many people with myself and with Bottle.It, and just believe in the journey of, having a go and getting stuck in. So I'm really, really proud to have so many people reach out and throw support and, validate what everything's about. We started, messaging 4 mates from a toilet saying, hey boys, I'm going to do an Ironman, do you want to come with me? Since then we've had 25 athletes finish, and the floral just resonates just deeply with anyone who's gone from the dark to the light, or anyone that knows about the journey from the dark to the light, and just provides that symbolism I spoke about with mum and the environment and finding stuff to pull yourself forward. The floral's becoming that for so many people, and you literally want to become, when you put that floral on, whether it's the hat, whether it's the suit, wherever that Bottle.It logo is, the people that get around it just continue to blow me away, and I can't wait to put some more story into that floral as we continue to move forward. So there's your 23-minute ramble. We're going to finish up. I'm going to go for a quick run, quick swim, and by that I don't mean quick 20k and a 4k swim set. I mean I'm going to go for a half-hour run to make sure the legs are working. Quick flush out swim, roll the arms over, and then I'll do one more big ride, one more run, a couple more swims as they don't impact the body too much, and we'll get ready. So the next update is going to be in a couple of days from Kona itself. We're at Waikoloa now. I will get into Kona, and I will start talking to other athletes and asking them a few questions. So as always, if you've got questions or if you've got something you want athletes to answer, I'm your guy on the ground here in Kona, so let me know. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers, guys.